this episode from the Rare Record Room, I'm revisiting the beat scene of the early 1960s and we'll be looking at the second UK studio album from the legendary Liverpool rock band The Beatles. Titled With the Beatles, this album was recorded at Abbey Road Studios in London between July and October 1963 and released on the 22nd of November that year. It followed their debut LP Please Please Me, released just 8 months earlier, covered in a previous video on this channel which you may wish to check out. With the Beatles, like Please Please Me, was produced by George Martin and was released on EMI's Parlophone record label in mono and stereo. In this video I will concentrate on the mono version and describe what constitutes the very first pressing. The sound engineer on this and all the Beatles studio recordings up to autumn 1965 was Norman Smith. The vocal duties were shared on the album, with harmonies throughout from McCartney, Lennon and Harrison, and lead vocals by Ringo Starr on I Wanna Be Your Man, which was also recorded and released as a single by the Rolling Stones. George Harrison takes the lead on 3 songs. In addition to their regular instruments of guitars and drums, piano is played by Paul, who also plays claves. Harmonica and tambourine is played by John, and Ringo plays all manner of percussion, including tambourine, maracas and bongo. In addition to the regular personnel, producer George Martin also contributes keyboards on 4 tracks. The LP is a blend of rhythm and blues, rock and roll, pop and soul music, and includes a mix of rockers and slower ballads. It features covers of songs by the likes of Chuck Berry, Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy, and 7 original songs by Lennon and McCartney, such as All My Loving and It Won't Be Long. Guitarist and third songwriter George Harrison contributes 1 track, Don't Bother Me, being his first recorded solo composition. The album closes with a frantic version of the song Money, That's What I Want, which had been the first ever hit for the Tamla Motown label in 1959. The Beatles had performed Money at their infamous Decca auditions, with Pete Best on drums, and the song was a staple for British beat bands. It was later covered by Junior Walker and the All-Stars and by the British new wave act The Flying Lizards. During the With the Beatles sessions, the band also recorded their UK #1 single She Loves You, released in late August 1963, which became the best-selling British single of the 1960s. The famous cover photo was taken by Robert Freeman, the first of his 4 Beatles LP covers. The shoot took place at the Palace Court Hotel in Bournemouth between concert performances booked at the local Gaumont Cinema. The extensive sleeve notes were written by the Beatles press officer Tony Barrow, who had been the first to coin the phrase the Fab Four. When released in the autumn of 1963, the record was a major success, where it entered the EMI UK album chart at #1, displacing their own Please Please Me from the top slot. With the Beatles remained at #1 for 21 weeks, eventually being toppled by the Rolling Stones' first LP. Now to the vinyl. The 1963 first pressing is on the familiar black Parlophone Company label, with text printed in yellow and silver print, issued under the catalogue number PMC 1206. The label states recording first published 1963, and the rim text features the Parlophone Company wording, followed by an all rights reserved notice. There is an embossed KT tax code near the spindle hole, indicating the amount of British purchase tax due on records. The first pressing miscredits the music publisher on the song Money, being the final track on side 2, as Jobet Music, which is corrected on the second pressing, also from 1963, to Dominion Belinda. This copy also includes a misprint on side 2, track 3, listed as Gotta, being a single word. This was subsequently corrected to Got A, printed as 2 words. The third pressing from 1965 also has the corrected text for Money, but includes an added notice sold in the UK subject to resale price conditions. The LP cover is the front laminated flipback style, stating patents pending on the lower flipback if printed by Garrett and Lofthouse Limited. Some sleeves were printed by Ernest J. Day, who held the patent, so the patent pending text does not appear on those examples. The Ernest J. Day flipback has an angled cut, whereas the Garrett and Lofthouse version has a rounded edge. In my experience, the Ernest Day printed sleeves are somewhat rarer. The mono wording on the margin of the front cover is in a large type, which reduces in size on the third pressing 1965. The spine displays the album title only. My first press copy also comes with a rare printed advertising insert as shown here. This company flyer promotes current Parlophone releases including both Beatles albums to date, and this is the only example I've ever encountered. Like the record label, the track listing printed on the rear of the sleeve also features both of the Gotta and Got A variations, the version stating Gotta printed as one word being more elusive in my experience. The inner sleeve is company die-cut paper design printed with the standard use Emitex cleaning cloth instructions. These come with a clear polythene lining bag. Tracing paper liners were introduced slightly later. Many copies of this album will be well played and enthusiastically handled, meaning decent original copies are desirable and valuable. In the current edition of the Rare Record Price Guide, the first press 1963 examples in mint condition are listed at £200, and the second pressings, also 1963, are worth £125. The 1965 third press copies are valued at £60. These are actually harder to find, as most copies of this album sold would have been the first and second press examples, bought within the first year of release. Advanced orders for With the Beatles were 270,000 copies, and in the first week of release the album sold over 500,000 units. And that just about brings to an end my brief history of the second Beatles LP, With the Beatles. That's your lot for this episode from the Rare Record Room. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did like the video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more and to receive notifications for any new uploads. Thanks for watching. See you next time.